Hello and welcome to another episode of the Blake Talks Good podcast. I'm your host, Blake Jennings, and today I want to talk about something that makes people afraid. Actually, very afraid. Based on the research that I've done, the topic that we're talking about today makes people as anxious as public speaking and death, which is crazy. We are really scared of this thing. And I will admit, for a lot of my career, I was terrified of the thing that we're talking about today. It would make my stomach clench up anytime I had to do this. Today, we're talking about fundraising. I don't know if you ever had a moment where you had to fundraise, you had to ask someone for money and it just terrified you. I mean, for me, I'd rather have my teeth pulled than have to go ask people for money for a lot of my career. And so fundraising is a pretty terrifying topic, but it's really important for nonprofit organizations like ours, for ministries, mission trip churches, kids after school activities. They need money to thrive, to survive. And so fundraising is a big part of what we have to do. So how do you do fundraising effectively without losing your soul, without it just crushing you? I want to share some lessons I've learned over the last 10 years leading the fundraising effort for OnRamp. I'm the founder of OnRamp and now the president. And as part of that, my responsibility is to raise our budget every year. It's about $1 million budget that I need to raise each year. And for a lot of my career before this, I was terrified of fundraising. I don't think I was very good at it. I've had to learn. I've had to adjust. I've had to change. I've had to grow. I've become much more effective at it. And I want to share the lessons I've learned with you. So I've broken it down into 5 core lessons. Let's jump right in. First lesson that really helps you to fundraise effectively without sacrificing your soul is you have to be passionate about whatever the mission is of the organization that you're raising money for. I mean, that seems like a basic idea, but you'd be surprised how often this principle is not practiced. A number of years ago, I was asked to raise money for something that I wasn't actually passionate about. It was a good thing. Now, let me be clear about that. It was a good thing. There's nothing wrong with this thing. If someone's asking you to raise money for something that's immoral or evil, don't do it. That's not what we're talking about here. Something that's bad. No. It was something that was good, but the deal is there are lots of good things in the world to raise money for. I wasn't personally passionate about this particular good thing, and that compromised my ability to raise money for it. It came across as very inauthentic because I didn't feel personally like this is the best use of money, that this is where I wanted money to go, but I had to go pitch it and I had to try to sell it, and that felt very inauthentic. It felt like I was like sacrificing a piece of my soul to do this. Again, not because it was bad in any way, but just because I wasn't personally passionate about it. You have to be passionate for the mission of whatever you're raising money for. If you're not, then you're not the right person to raise money for that thing. You need to find somebody who is passionate about that thing to go be the one raising money for it. That's just crucial. And your donors will see through if you're not passionate about it. They're going to see that this is inauthentic. This feels like a sales pitch from someone who doesn't even like the product. It just won't work. It's ineffective. And I was very ineffective in that role. I'm much more effective now with OnRamp because I deeply believe in the mission of OnRamp. I'm passionate about it. And so I can be real. I can be authentic when I'm fundraising. When I'm asking a donor for money, I'm not sacrificing my soul because this is my soul. This is what I love and care deeply about. So you've got to be passionate about the church, charity, mission, nonprofit, whatever it is you're raising money for. You've got to care deeply about it if you're going to fundraise effectively for it. Second lesson that'll help you fundraise effectively without losing your soul. You need to remember you are pitching an investment. You are not panhandling. You are not a beggar asking for scraps. No, again, go back to the first point. You believe in this thing passionately. Or don't raise money for it. If you believe in this thing passionately, then you're pitching an investment, because what we're doing when we're asking for money to fund a church, a nonprofit charity, a ministry, an after-school program for our kids, we are asking people to invest in something that we believe makes an impact. Otherwise, we wouldn't do this. We believe this is a great use of your money and time. We believe that this will make a difference for people for now and for the future. This is an investment. It's not begging for scraps. I think of it this way. In the for-profit world, we want businesses to think about ROI, return on investment, that they will get back more than what they put in. In charity world, we want to think about CROI, charitable return on investment. I want to pitch OnRamp or whatever organization, church, ministry, after-school program you're pitching for. You want to pitch it as something that has a great CROI. Now, this isn't going to bring like money back to the pocket of the donor. That's not what this is about. This is about impact. This is a way that you take your discretionary income and have a good impact on the world, on the kingdom of God, on real people in a way that lasts for the rest of their lives. It may actually outlive you. That's the beauty of CROI, is it could have return that outlives you. So when I talk about OnRamp with potential donors, I make it clear I'm not asking for your leftovers. I am pitching an investment to you that I think has a massive ROI. I think it's going to have a massive impact for your soul, for your heart, and for the world at large, for the kingdom of God, for years, for generations, for eternity. I believe it's an amazing investment. Now, the reality is there's lots of great charities and churches out there. So they may feel personally called to invest in a different nonprofit. That's great. What matters to me is they're thinking of it as investment, not as begging. And when you think about it that way, it helps protect your soul and your dignity. You see that fundraising is actually an honor. I'm not a beggar asking for scraps. I am an investment counselor, going to someone and helping them see how their discretionary income can have a massive impact in the world that even outlives them. That the impact of their charitable giving is actually the best use of their discretionary income. They could go spend it on themselves, but then it's just a flash in the pan, it goes away. Or they could spend it doing something that has impact in the world, in the kingdom of God forever. And so that's the focus. And it'll take away a lot of the anxiety. You don't feel so shameful asking for money when you realize, no. This is an investment. This is something that is an honor to get to share about. If they are inspired to go invest in either our thing or something like it that makes an impact forever, then this is actually awesome. And I have just given them great advice. This is the best use of my time, best use of their time. So see fundraising as pitching an investment, not panhandling, not begging. Third thing that I've learned over the years, your client's dignity infinitely outweighs any check that could ever be written to your nonprofit or church. This is a huge one. What I mean by this is that protecting your client's dignity, their self-respect, their worth, protecting their name, their image, their story matters more than any donation that could ever be given to your organization. I learned this the hard way. In the early years of OnRamp, I think it was like maybe year 2, we gifted a vehicle to a single mom here in town who had a couple kids who were like high schoolers at the time. And we knew something about protecting a client's dignity. So we asked her, this single mom, are you okay with us sharing these pictures on social media, being very public about them? And she said yes, but we didn't ask the kids. We didn't ask her son. And so we shared this story with pictures of the family, really nice pictures. We shared it on our social media because we had her permission. We share their story. We share all of it. And then the news picks it up and it plays that evening on the news. And this high school boy's friends see it and they tell him the next day at school, oh, so your family needed charity. And now all of a sudden his self-respect collapsed. I mean, this was just what an offense to him. I mean, we betrayed him. That was awful what we did. I would say that the damage we've done may outweigh the good that we did in giving that family a car. That was through no intentional fault of our own. It's just we were not careful. We have since learned how to do this much better and get everyone's permission. We're very, very careful about this because we saw the harm that can be done when you do not protect the dignity of your clients. You're in effect, you are selling them out for the sake of raising money. And that's a horrible thing to do. So your clients' stories, their image, their name, the image and name of their kids and family members, it's theirs. It's not yours. The story never belongs to you. No matter what you give them, no matter what you do for them, the story is never yours. It's always theirs. So always get permission for everything you're going to share, for the pictures, for the name, for the stories. Get their permission twice. Like just to write the thing you're going to share. Even if they said, yeah, you can share it, then write it and then send it to them. Are you sure? Any edits? Anything I got wrong? That brings up an important point. Often when we do get permission to share the stories, we can be tempted to exaggerate the stories, to really make them pop. I'm going to just twist it just a little bit to make this like movie ready, because then everybody will read it. I'll get so many likes on social media and so many donors. A horrible thing to do, because those clients are going to see it. The friends, the neighbors are going to see it. It's going to cause problems for the clients that you said something that wasn't actually true and they know it. It's also going to show like the community, at least that part of the community, that you are not an ethical and trustworthy organization. And that will do you far more harm in the long run than any amount of money you could raise through twisting that story, exaggerating a bit. So your client's dignity, their image, likeness, their name, their story, protecting that matters more than any fundraising you will ever do. So be incredibly careful with that. Treat it as precious. Okay. So your client's dignity outweighs any donation. Fourth lesson I've learned, your donors are people, not prospects. Your donors are people, not prospects. This is a little easier to get right in church world because if you think about it, if you're here in leadership of a church and you're trying to do fundraising with your congregants, well, your congregants are also your clients in a sense. Like you are providing ministry to the same people who are funding the ministry, right? So it's a little easier to treat your donors as people because they are also the beneficiaries of the ministry that you do. Charity world is harder because it's a triangle, if you will. The clients are often not who funds the work. Now, sometimes they are, which is wonderful. It's beautiful when clients get back. But frequently, you're here running this nonprofit or serving in some sort of leadership in a nonprofit. You're trying to do ministry and provide care for clients who are not the same ones who are the donors. So the donors are a different set of people over here. And so the temptation is often we treat our clients as people who we love, who we care about and coach and help. We treat our donors like walking bank accounts. They're just like a cog in the machine that funds this work. I see this so often, and technology has made it worse because with technology, you don't ever have to actually see the donor. Like they can give electronically, you can receipt electronically, and no human is even part of it. And so we can often treat donors like bank accounts, if that's all that they're about. Well, that hurts and crushes their souls. It also hurts and crushes your soul. Like that just turns that whole relationship into a transaction. It's really bad for all of us. So I encourage you to think about your donors as people in the same way that you think about your clients as people. We're all people. All three parts of this triangle, the staff, the volunteers, we're also people. All of us are children of God, made in the image of God, who are on our own journey. We're still growing. We're still learning. We're still developing. And so what that means is that you can have just as much ministry and impact in your donors' lives as in your clients' lives, and they can have just as much impact in your life. There's a real relationship here that happens when you understand my donor is a human made in the image of God, and their growth matters more than their donation. Right? It does, because God can provide the money you need however He wants. But what ultimately matters is that they're human. And so you want to invest in your donors' stories and journeys as much as you invest in your clients. So you want to be thinking, how do I help my donor and his or her family to continue to grow in their own walk with God and their own maturity and their own ability to live and thrive? Be thinking about how you can invest in them and how you can learn from them and grow from them. So one of the things that we do for OnRamp, even though we use those modern tools that allow online donations and receiving and blah, 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 we still go old school when it comes to follow-up. We still pick up the phone and call, as much as that terrifies all of us these days. And we still write letters by hand, like thank you letters, because I want donors to know, like I stopped in the middle of my day and I thought about them by name and I wrote them a letter and I prayed God's blessing over them and their family by name. That matters because it shows them this isn't about your money. This is about you as a human. So spend time with donors, get coffee with them, treat them as people, not prospects. That's good for them. It's good for you. It's good for your organization. It's good for the whole world when we do that. So donors are people, not prospects. Fifth and final lesson I've learned along the way is that when it comes to fundraising effectiveness, stories will always outperform events. I see a lot of charities, nonprofits, organizations, and ministries that try to do most of their fundraising through one or two big events per year, like a huge flashy event. In my opinion, that's hugely risky because, I mean, things could happen. You could have a tornado warning that day. You could have somebody important get really sick. Who knows what could happen? The event could get canceled, and all of a sudden your budget is blown because you put all your eggs in one basket of an event. So it's hugely risky. It's also, in my opinion, it's not very effective because events don't really build relationships, not long term. An event is kind of a flash in the pan. It's fun, and it can be a moment to strengthen a relationship that's already there to like actually see face to face once again. But it doesn't really build relationships. It doesn't convey passion. An event is great in the moment, but it doesn't last long enough. What will build long-term passion and buy-in and relationships is stories. Is sharing with your donors on a regular basis. Maybe it's every week, maybe it's every month, however often it is. Sharing stories of the impact that their donations are having in the lives of your clients and the community at large. Now, again, back to my previous lesson, you have to tell those stories in a way that protects the dignity of your clients. But you can tell a compelling story without any identifying information, without a name or a face or any of that. You can still help your donors understand the impact they're having. And that's, again, if you think about this fundraising thing as an invitation to invest, you're going to communicate with them frequently. Here's the return you're having. Like here's the latest stock market report, whatever it is. is. You're going to be very communicative because you want them to know the return on their investments. Same thing in fundraising. We're going to try to help our donors understand the impact that their donations are having, because they're not here actually spending time with the clients, so they can't see it firsthand. So we are responsible to share those stories with them so that they can see the impact that their donations are having. So get good at telling stories. That's my advice for you. It's far more important than getting good at planning events. Although events have their place. I'm not saying that they're bad. We do events, but that's not the primary task of fundraising. It's really telling stories. It's a primary thing. So get good at telling stories, or find someone to help you who's really good at telling stories. That's crucial to your church or nonprofit or mission trip, whatever it is, getting good at telling stories. So work on it, practice it, get better at it, find people to help you with it. So those are my 5 lessons learned over the last decade in the world of fundraising. You can fundraise effectively without selling your soul if you first will fundraise for things you're truly passionate about, if you'll pitch it as an investment and not as begging or as panhandling, if your client's dignity in your mind infinitely outweighs the donation, so you never sacrifice your client's dignity, if you treat donors as people and not prospects, and if you focus on stories rather than events. Those things will help you to fundraise effectively long-term without selling your soul. So I hope these lessons will help you to raise funds effectively without feeling terror in your gut. You really can do it. Fundraising is an amazing opportunity to help people make a difference in the world that will outlive them. So this is another episode of Blake Talks Good. I'll see you next time. If you have a question that you would like covered on Blake Talks Good, you can email it to blakej@onramptx.org. Again, that's BLAKEJ@ONRAMPTX.org. We'd love to have your questions, whether they're about individually doing good or working at a nonprofit or ministering in a church, wherever you might be. If you want to maximize the good that you do in your community and have a question, please send it to us.